Hello everyone, welcome back to my studio Warsaw, Poland, to my humble YouTube channel. My name is Paul, good to see you again, guys. Saturation, a hidden yet powerful mixing process. I seriously see people not saturating their signals, not knowing what saturation can do to your signals when stacked slightly, track over track, group over group. And I do believe it's good to do some sort of a tutorial on this. Plus, I own from some time Elysia Karacter 500 analog saturation. You're gonna find a video about my new API 500 here, plus a plugin. I acquired the same very plugin to ask a question, because I tend to use analog saturation. I'm gonna tell you why soon. Is really analog better for saturation than digital? Because I have a feeling I can do everything in digital, but I need analog saturation. Am I wrong with this? Maybe digital is already so perfect that there's no reason to pack money into this. We're gonna find out today. As always, if you think this channel is a cool place, if you like my studio and my videos, please consider subscribing somewhere here down in the corner, getting notified, liking this vid, commenting on it down below so that I know what you think about this test. What's your favorite way of saturating sources? Digital, analog, or maybe you don't use saturation? Let's discuss, and let's go now. Plus, if you both like the plugin presented and would like to both support me, you're gonna find an affiliate link down below. Thanks. Okay, my friends, the session is in front of me. Before I show it to you, let's take a look at both the plugin and the hardware. Elysia Karacter costs $75. These are actually two plugins. Mixing version of this plugin, corresponding rack 1U version, and then there is stereo mastering version with dents on all knobs, and also this is exactly the hardware I'm using. And the both plugins in a set cost $75, while the hardware costs $1,000. Is it worth the upgrade working in analog domain? Is it really that much difference? We'll see today, but I'm gonna tell you this. I choose analog because aliasing is the thing. Aliasing means that you're trying to process the signal that exceeds your resolution, your sample rate. And when it happens, bad artifacts reflect back to your signal and create nasty digital sounding mess. And saturation is about creating additional harmonics in your signal, going higher and higher, so aliasing is easy. You have to oversample or create anti-aliasing filters to prevent this. And in digital, in analog domain, there's no problem. You just have this analog equipment. You're gonna record this into your DAW, and simply somewhere at your sample rate, you're gonna stop sampling any analog signal. Aliasing is non-existent here in this digital form, and generally analog sounds better to my ears. Yes, it does. I'm gonna try to see whether this is true or not. And as for functionalities of this little wonder box, here you've got drive. Color of this drive, which is anti-clockwise, is sort of bright through medium to dark. And bright I would describe as tape-like, and dark as more like tube-like. And the first one is a bit denser, and the second one sounds more sparse. I'm gonna try to show both to you today so you hear the difference. Gain is just gain, then fat shred and turbo boost are additional circuits that can flavor, that can spice up your sound even more. Here you've got mix knob. I used everything on mix 100%. And you can do stereo linking. You can use left and right separately as well. And this is it. And this is the session for today. I created a short loop. Low drums, high drums, bass, and keys. And it goes like this. Yeah, house, deep house sort of loop. What I did, I took the low drums, I saturated them using both plugin And the hardware, same for high loops, same for bass, same for keys. And I'm going to show it to you right now how I did it, and we're going to compare side by side both versions. But before that happens, we're going to start with drums that I processed with a plugin using these settings. Moderate drive, bright tape-like color, fat shred was also on, gain was tweaked a bit, and it sounds like this. Let's maybe compare it against the try. Yes, it's more round. It's more mix ready. Not only the dynamics of the signal change, because every situation is a dynamic process. It's going to cut your peaks. It's going to make your loudness, perceived loudness, increased, but the peaks going to actually be cut. So it's sort of a compression. While the dry version is flat sounding, the low end is unconvincing. It's out of its place, some sort. While plugin gave me more cohesiveness and more pleasure, let's say, from the listening. And here comes the hardware version, and you're gonna probably notice that this is the plugin and this is hardware, different waveform, but this is already recorded from hardware, and this is with the plugin on the insert. So if I render this, actually, you're gonna see exactly that the waveform's gonna be quite the same, quite corresponding. And I'm gonna take the dry back here, and now let's compare plugin versus hardware Elysia to see whether this hardware is really so much better. I'm gonna tell you this, there's even more roundness, more presence in the low end. It feels more mix ready, but the transients are softer. It happens a lot with analog domain, analog saturation, EQing, some other processes. There are many reasons for that. The transients are softened, but I don't care. I can use the slightest transient shaper after my saturation to bring them back. And I like, seriously, I do like the hardware version a bit more convincing and a bit more right on its place, though the difference is not huge by any means. And now let's go for top drums. And first, dry versus plugin. Plugin has been set up like this. Drive is here, color is in the middle. So it's halfway between tape and tube, how I call them. No fat shred, no turbo boost, some gain tweaked. And it goes like this. You can hear it, right? It's more upfront. It's there. And it's all, remember, very precisely gain matched. Every track by every track, and also every premix has been checked out in the matter of loudness precisely, up to 0.1 LUFS. I mean 0.1 LUFS of a difference is maximum here. So yeah, definitely I choose the plugin, the saturated version. And now let's maybe try to compare it against the hardware that I tried to set up exactly same way and give it the same tone. Yes, I would say that hardware is also a tad better. It's more upfront, though the loudness, the saturation level is absolutely matched. There is something moving, there is something less static, I don't know, in this hardware version. Yeah, that's it, bass. As for bass, my friends, maybe let's bring it back here and back here. Yeah, and as for bass, We're also going to compare it against the dry one first. And as for base, I did this color, rather bright, moderate drive. I use moderate drive everywhere. No fat shred, no turbo boost. And let's say I actually try to tweak it so that you know what's this color doing. Yes, and it preserves the low end much more, as you can probably hear. That's why I tend to choose this bright, sort of bright color, or dense, let's call it dense, because it sounds somehow brighter in the top end, but it also lets the low end work. So maybe bright dark is not the correct way. I would call it dense and sparse. And anyway, I chose this and turbo boost and fat shred. Plethora of choice, a myriad of tonal choices with fat shred, turbo boost, and the color. And let's compare dry against wet. All the way I hear it most action bass, I go for the saturated Elysia Karacter version. It's more on its place. It's better both tonally and dynamically, more mix ready, as I expressed it before. And yes, Elysia helps me a lot with this anti-clockwise color, with a lot of things. Actually, I tend to choose it more, I realized. And now, plugin versus hardware on same corresponding settings. Hard to describe it. There is difference. The low end seems even more balanced, more on its place, even more convincing some sort of, though the difference is scary slow. I mean, the plugin is great, and remember, everything is precisely gain matched. I still choose the bass on the hardware version. As for the keys, and same story against dry and plugin settings. I did this very slight drive with this darker color this time, with fat shred and turbo boost. Yet, so there really is a lot of things to choose from, and how it goes against the dry. What I think is that the top end has been rolled off somehow slightly, but in a noble, cool way, and it became a bit more dirty. I mean, I hear least difference in this department when listening to every stem or every track, but there is still difference, and I do like what Elysia did. How about plugin versus hardware? Very little difference to my ears, if any. What I like is this sort of dirt unpredictability that has been injected a bit more into these keys, though the keys are already dirt. They were dirt as a sample, and then I processed them through Infiltrator plugin, another great plugin. You're going to actually find a video here, I believe. And guys, that's it. And you know what? The last stage, of course, would be let's listen to the full premix so that we learn whether saturation actually improved anything, and is it really better to use analog than digital saturation. let's go for this ultimate listening test. Very slight difference, but absolutely in favor of the saturated version. It's more coherent, it's more cohesive, it's more mix ready. I don't suppose it even a part of the mixing process. I treat saturation as an integral part of my signal. I apply it to my mainly VST synthesizers before any EQing, any compression whatsoever. Saturation is the integral part of my signals. Actually, and I hear it. It's so much better saturated. Anyway, and that's why it's a hidden power, because people, I seriously can experience that people sometimes don't know how to use saturation. They don't use it, and you can achieve marvelous results in your music using right amount of stacked up saturated tracks and groups. Now, plugin versus hardware. So the second part of the question, is it really better to use hardware? Or maybe plugin is same good? Let's find out. Hope YouTube's gonna transfer this, but I'm absolutely again into hardware version. It's more moving. There is no trace of any audible aliasing, which is cool, but hardware is moving somehow, and it's even rounder. The transients are softer, and I actually like it the way it comes to my ears. And there is some sort of cohesiveness and some sort of added value, especially in the low end. And Karacter is great for that because it's non-linear. It does different stuff in different ranges when you tweak the color knob. And definitely I am into hardware, though the difference is scary small here. Maybe let's take one more listening test. Yes, definitely hardware, and I'm happy to own it. But again, plugin is almost perfect and will take you absolutely there. Guys, that's it, and maybe we shall sum the things up. That's it, my friends. The difference is not huge, but as I told you, it matters to me. It's not big, but it's significant. It's meaningful. Not large, but meaningful, exactly. And dry versus saturated, the only thing we used here, remember, already makes your tracks more mix-ready. In this manner, saturation is maybe not a mixing process itself, but it's a very important step that lets me prepare my sources for mixing. And I hope I showed you a bit of it and I convinced you that it's good to think both about the plugin and the hardware if you feel like, because without saturation, our music loses a lot. That's it for today. Hope to hear from you very soon and hope to hear from you down below in the comment section. Take care and bye.